I'm busy, sorry, she texted as I stood in the cold rain outside, clutching the phone with her lying message. Across the street, in a cozy cafe, Emily laughed as she touched my brother Ethan's shoulder. It all started with a sleepless night when I was aimlessly scrolling through Reddit looking for some distraction. My name is Jake Miller, I'm 28 and a graphic designer from Seattle. I live in a cramped apartment littered with empty coffee cups with a paycheck that barely covers the rent and dreams that have been gathering dust for a long time. Reddit was my salvation, a place where I could get lost in memes, heated discussions, or random stories. I scrolled through memes, laughed at stupid jokes on funny, and sometimes checked out Ask Reddit to read other people's confessions. But that night, I stumbled upon our 4RA subreddit where people are looking for friends, romance, or just someone to understand them. Most of the posts there were either too desperate or downright weird. But one caught my attention. Seattle looking for someone who gets me. Bonus if you like night rides and indie music, she wrote. Her nickname was Starlet Dreamer 94, and although the post was short, it seemed sincere. I hesitated for a long time, but finally replied, also from Seattle. I have a playlist of The National and an old Honda ready for those late night rides. I thought my comment would be lost among the others, but an hour later, she wrote in private, bold move, Jake. What one song would be playing in your car at midnight? Her name was Emily, and that was the beginning of everything. Our correspondence was like a breath of fresh air. Emily was witty, a little sarcastic, but always knew what to say to make me smile. She would send me the names of unknown bands, and I would respond by drawing sketches inspired by her stories. She told me she was working as a barista at a coffee shop on Capitol Hill, saving money for art school. I imagined her in jeans stained with paint with a smile that could melt ice. We hadn't met, yet she was always busy with work, but I could already feel myself falling in love. I wrote to her every night lying on the squashed couch. Do you ever think about just going somewhere without a plan? I would ask. Every day she replied, but you need the right company. Her words were warming, but at the same time left a tinge of doubt. Why did she always avoid meeting me? I brushed these thoughts aside. Seattle is a big city. Everyone has their own business, right? Emily and I had been corresponding for 3 weeks, and I couldn't wait to finally meet her. I suggested everything from a coffee at Starbucks to a walk to Pike Place Market, even a night trip to the ocean. But she always had an excuse: I'm swamped at work, or I have to help my roommate, she's sick. I didn't insist, I didn't want to seem intrusive. But one evening, everything changed. I went to Dick's Drive-In to grab a quick burger after a deadline at work. While standing in line, I looked across the street and saw her. Or at least a girl who looked like the one I had been corresponding with. The same wavy brown hair, the same leather jacket that she showed in a blurry selfie. And she wasn't alone. My brother Ethan was standing next to her, laughing, as if they'd known each other forever. Ethan is younger than me, 25, a mechanic with golden hands and the ability to charm anyone. We've always been close, but he's the one who comes easy to me. He's the best at basketball, the best with girls, the best at everything. Seeing him with Emily was like a punch in the face. My phone rang, a message from her. I'm busy today, sorry. Busy with Ethan? I didn't make a scene. I went home, turned on my laptop, and did what anyone in my position would do. I turned to Reddit. I created a post on r/relationships. Been corresponding with a girl from Reddit for a few weeks, but just saw her with my brother. She said she was busy. Am I paranoid, or what? The responses came instantly. Someone wrote that I was working myself up, maybe it wasn't her dude. Others were harsher: she's cheating on you, or maybe it's some kind of catfight. One user, Night Owl Sleuth, wrote, check her post history. People always leave traces. I dove into Emily's profile. Her account was almost empty, a few comments in the music subreddits, a couple of posts in our 4R. But Night Owl Sleuth was right, there were traces. One comment from 6 months ago mentioned a bar in Fremont, the same one Ethan bragged about rocking out every weekend. Another hinted at a difficult family situation. My imagination painted the worst. Was she using me to get to Ethan? Or am I just going crazy? Reddit became my obsession. I spent hours comparing Emily's posts to Ethan's Instagram. He had posted a story from that bar in Fremont, and the date matched Emily's comment that she had been there. Coincidence? Maybe. But then I found a photo on her Instagram. A link to it was in one of her deleted comments on Reddit. In the picture, she was at a concert, which Ethan has repeatedly told me about how he tore up the dance floor there. Everything started to fit together, and I didn't like the picture. I wrote to Night Owl Sleuth, you were right. There is a match with my brother. What's next? Their response was eerie. People like her live in secrecy. Check her alternative accounts. Everyone has them on Reddit. I didn't even think about it. Following the advice from Reddit, I started looking for accounts with a similar writing style. It took days, but I found one, Moonlit Liar 88. The name itself made me cringe. Moonlit Liar 88 was active in questionable subreddits. One post caught my attention. Am I a bad guy for leading a guy by the nose to get close to his family? The details were vague but too similar to my situation, a barista, a dream of art school, a boyfriend who is too trusting. The commenters tore her to shreds. You're terrible, stop playing with people. But she deleted the post in a few hours. I took screenshots of everything. Finally, I decided to talk to Emily. Hey, I saw you at Dick's with someone. Was it you? She answered instantly, no, it wasn't me. I was working late. But her Reddit activity showed that she was online at the exact time I saw her. I couldn't believe it. I then called Ethan asking cautiously, I saw a girl who looks like your type at Dick's. Do you know anything? He laughed, you're imagining things, bro. But his eyes looked away as they always do when he's lying about borrowing my car. I couldn't sleep. Emily kept texting, flirting, joking as if nothing had happened. I made you a playlist, she wrote, dropping songs that hit the spot. Lover, you should have come over, fake plastic trees. Is she playing with me? I posted again, in relationships, this time with screenshots retouched to avoid giving myself away. Subreddit exploded, she's a manipulator. Gather evidence and deal with both of them. Take care of yourself, man. Night Owl Sleuth wrote, privately meet her in person. Make her open up. I obeyed. Emily, let's have coffee on Saturday. No excuses. Surprisingly, she agreed. Okay, Cafe Allegro, 3 p.m. I planned the next 2 days. I would take the screenshots, lay out the evidence, and demand the truth. But I also told Ethan I was meeting a Reddit friend at Allegro. If he shows up, I'll know they're in on it. Saturday came and Cafe Allegro was packed with hipsters tapping away at their keyboards, baristas shouting orders. I sat by the window clutching my phone as if it could save me. At 3:05 p.m. Emily walked in. She looked exactly like her selfie, brown hair, leather jacket, nervous smile. Jake, right? She said as she sat down. My heart skipped a beat. She was real, but was she the one? We talked for an hour. She was charming, laughing at my jokes, telling me about her dream of drawing comics. But when I mentioned Ethan, my brother loves this place, her smile faded. Oh, cool, she mumbled. I pressed, ever been to that bar in Fremont, the Rusty Anchor? Her eyes widened. Maybe once. I put my phone on the table, opening Moonlit Liar 88's post. Explain that. Emily stared at the screenshot, her hand shaking as if she were holding a grenade. Where did you get this? She whispered, her voice barely audible over the din of Cafe Allegro. I didn't back down. Reddit. Your alternative account, Moonlit Liar 88. You wrote that you were leading a guy by the nose to get closer to his family. Is that true? And Ethan? She grabbed her latte, took a sip, and said, Jake, you don't know the whole story. Emily claimed that Moonlit Liar 88 was not her account. According to her, it was the work of a crazy ex who had been stalking her for months, stealing passwords and posting lies to ruin her life. She met Ethan by chance at the Rusty Anchor bar, and he was just helping with the situation. I didn't tell you because I didn't want to scare you, she said, tears shining in her eyes. Her story sounded believable, but Reddit taught me not to believe tears. I listened to her, clutching my phone with the screenshots. Her words were like a spider's web, beautifully woven but fragile. Why were you with Ethan at Dick's when you texted that you were busy? I asked. She hesitated. I wasn't there. You must have it wrong. But her voice trembled, her eyes avoided mine. Anger was building in my chest, but I held back. Okay, Emily. Let's say I believe you. But explain this post. I showed another screenshot, Moonlit Liar 88's comment about two brothers who don't know. Her face changed. The tears disappeared and a cold mask appeared in their place. You weren't supposed to find this, she said quietly, but her voice was full of menace. I felt a chill run down my spine. What does it mean? I asked. Emily leaned back and folded her arms. You think you're so smart with your screenshots? Reddit isn't going to make you a hero, Jake. Her words hit me like a slap in the face. This wasn't the same Emily who sent me playlists and laughed at my jokes. This was a stranger. I leaned closer. Tell me the truth. Now. She looked me in the eyes, her gaze like a knife. The truth? You're not ready for her. But if you want to play detective, be careful. Not everyone likes it when you dig into their business. She stood up, grabbed her bag, and walked to the door. I sat there stunned, not knowing what to do. Her last words kept running through my head. Not everyone likes to be dug up. Was it a threat or a warning? I returned home, my mind buzzing like a hive. Emily wasn't just lying, she was hiding something big. Her cold mask in the cafe haunted me. I turned on my laptop and wrote to Night Owl Sleuth, met with her. She denies everything, but I know she's lying. What now? Their response came an hour later. She's panicking. Check her activity for today. If she thinks you're close, she'll make a mistake. I dove deeper into Reddit than ever. I checked Emily's profile, her alternate account, even Ethan's old comments. I found his old nickname, GreaseMonkey22, who had commented on Emily's post before we met. One comment was from a bar called the Rusty Anchor, dated 3 months before I started corresponding with her. They had known each other longer than I thought. But why was Ethan hiding it? And why was Emily playing me? I called Ethan that night. Do you know Emily for real? I asked without greeting. He was silent for a second, too long. Yeah, I've seen her a couple times at the bar. So? I told him everything about Reddit, about dicks, about the alternative account. He laughed, but it was nervous. Bro, you're working yourself up. She's just a girl from the bar I was helping her with, some guy who was bothering her. But his story didn't add up to hers. Someone was lying, and I had to find out who. Reddit was my only chance. I posted everything I knew this time in the subreddit where people analyze such stories. Help me check her for a girl may be cheating. I have proof, I wrote, attaching screenshots without personal details. Responses poured in. She's leading you by the nose. Check her IP if you can. Your brother is also in the game. Be careful. One user, Night Owl Sleuth, sent a private message. Found something. Moonlit Liar 88 was posting from Tacoma, not Seattle. Also, she posted about two brothers in another city a year ago. This is her pattern. I sat in front of the screen feeling the world crumble. Emily wasn't just lying to me, she had done it before. But why me? And why Ethan? I wrote to Night Owl Sleuth, how do I stop her? Their answer was short: gather more evidence. Meet with them both. Make them talk. I knew it was a risk, but there was no other way out. I decided to go all in. I texted Emily that I wanted to start from scratch and invited her to a concert at the Show Box, a place where you can get lost in the crowd. Then I told Ethan that I had taken an extra ticket and wanted him to come with me for old time's sake. Neither of them knew the other would be there. Reddit had a backup. Night Owl Sleuth and a few other users promised to keep an eye on their accounts in case they suspected anything. The concert was like a storm. The lights were flashing, the bass was thundering, and people were pushing. Emily was the first to arrive, nervous but smiling. Jake, this is cool, she said, grabbing my hand. Then Ethan appeared. Their eyes met, and the air became heavy. What's he doing here? Ethan muttered. I didn't flinch. I thought we should all talk together. I posted everything, the IP from Tacoma, the posts about the brothers, the meeting at Dick's. Emily tried to interrupt. Jake, you're crazy. But Ethan was the first to break down. She said you were just being casual, he blurted out. Emily froze. That's not true, she shouted, but the crowd drowned out her voice. Reddit was right, they were playing me together. Ethan wanted her attention, she wanted to keep us both hooked. I did not shout. I just said you're done. I threw the screenshots on the floor and walked away, leaving them in the chaos of the concert. Reddit gave me the tools to see through their lies, and I haven't looked back. A few days later, Emily's account disappeared. Ethan called and left messages about a misunderstanding, but I didn't answer. Reddit didn't stop. Users found more. Moonlit Liar 88 was posting in other cities, always the same scenario: charming guys pissing them off, then disappearing. Emily, or whoever she was, had been doing this for years. I started all over again. New job, new apartment, no Reddit for a while. But Night Owl Sleuth wrote again, she's back. New account, same game. Do you want to stop her? I stared at the screen, my finger hovering over the keyboard. Part of me wanted to forget. But another part of me, the part that could still hear her laughing with Ethan in that cafe, demanded justice. After the concert, I felt devastated but also free. Emily and Ethan were behind me, their lies falling apart like a house of cards. I deleted Reddit from my bookmarks, turned off my notifications, and promised myself not to go back. I needed a fresh start. I found a job at a small design studio in Bellingham, an hour outside of Seattle. The new apartment was modest but clean, with no old coffee mugs or memories of sleepless nights at the laptop. Life started to get better. But the wounds didn't heal that quickly. I avoided Ethan's calls, even though he sent messages almost every day. Jake, can we talk? I'll explain everything. His words rang hollow. How do I explain that he chose Emily over his brother? I didn't answer, but every time I saw his name on the screen, something in my chest tightened. Emily was silent. Her account, Starlit Dreamer 94, was deleted. Moonlit Liar 88 disappeared too. I thought it was the end. But one evening when I was sorting through old boxes in my new apartment, I found my old sketchbook. There was a drawing I had made for Emily, a girl with wavy hair, standing by the ocean under a starry sky. I drew it after our first week of correspondence, when I still believed in her sincerity. The memory struck like a bolt of lightning. I sat down on the floor holding the drawing and realized that I hadn't let her go. Not really. That night, I couldn't resist turning on my laptop. Not for Reddit, but to see if Emily had left any trace. Her Instagram was closed, but a new profile popped up in the search: Art by M94. The photos were different paintings, sketches, coffee shops in Tacoma. No selfies, no hints of Seattle, but the style of her posts, the short, witty captions, it was her. I felt my pulse quicken. She hadn't disappeared. She had just moved on. I closed the browser. That's enough, I told myself. But doubts gnawed at me. What if she was still playing her games? What if someone else is reading her messages right now, believing her smiles, unaware of the knife in her back? I didn't want to be the one to let her continue. A week later, I received a message from Night Owl Sleuth. She's back. New account, same scheme. Do you want to stop her? I sat in front of the screen, my fingers frozen over the keyboard. Part of me screamed to forget, to move on. But the other part of me, the part that remembered her cold gaze in Cafe Allegro, demanded action. I answered, "What have you found?" Night Owl Sleuth sent a link to a new account, Dreamweaver94. Post in R23F Tacoma. Looking for someone for late-night conversations and coffee. I love art and adventure. That was Emily to the last comma. Users were already replying, unsuspecting. I felt the anger return. She didn't stop. She never stops. I wrote to Night Owl Sleuth, "How can I expose her?" They replied, "Gather evidence. Find her new targets. But be careful, she knows you can dig." I returned to Reddit with a new goal. This time not for myself, but to protect others. I created a new account, ShadowTracer22, to stay invisible. I started following Dreamweaver94, analyzing her every comment, every post. She was more careful, fewer details, no mention of bars or concerts. But her style gave it away, the same sarcastic jokes, the same way she replied late at night. A few days later, I noticed a pattern. Dreamweaver94 was actively corresponding with two guys in R4, one from Tacoma, the other from Olympia. Their posts were similar, young, a little insecure, looking for a connection. I felt a sense of déjà vu. She was spinning her web again, and I couldn't let her finish. I got in touch with Night Owl Sleuth and a few other users who had helped before. We created a private chat room, calling it Operation Pause. The plan was simple: gather enough evidence to expose her to her new victims, but without directly interfering so that she wouldn't get suspicious. We divided up the tasks. Someone searched for her old accounts, someone analyzed her IP, and someone monitored her activity in real time. A week later, we had results. Dreamweaver94 had been posting from several IPs, all from Tacoma, but one matched a cafe where Emily used to work. Night Owl Sleuth found another old account that she had deleted with a post about two guys who don't know each other. The pattern was repeating itself. She would meet guys, charm them, and then piss them off by creating drama, then disappear. But this time she made a mistake. One of her comments contained a photo, a blurry shot of a painting, but the logo of a coffee shop in Tacoma, the Brew Haven, was visible in the background. I knew this was my chance. I wrote to the Operation Pause chat room. I found her place. "What do we do?" Night Owl Sleuth replied, "Take your time. If you go there, she will recognize you. Better warn her targets." We gathered profiles of two guys she had been corresponding with, Trevor from Tacoma and Mike from Olympia. I created an anonymous account and sent them a message: "Be careful with Dreamweaver94. She is not who she says she is." I added links to old Moonlit Liar 88 posts archived by other users. Trevor answered right away, "Dude, is this for real? She seems normal." I sent him the screenshots and briefly explained how she was playing with me. Mike didn't reply, but his activity on Reddit stopped. I hoped he was listening. But Emily was faster. The next day, Dreamweaver94 published a new post: "Why are people so paranoid? I just want to make a friend, and someone is already writing nasty things." She tried to whitewash herself, and commenters bought it, blaming trolls. I felt my anger boiling. She was slipping away again. I texted Night Owl Sleuth, "She knows we're close. We have to act." They suggested a radical step: publishing everything we'd gathered with evidence that could not be denied. But it meant coming out of the shadows, maybe even exposing myself. I hesitated. My new job, my new life, everything could go down the drain if Emily decided to take revenge. I was sitting in my apartment looking at the screen. On the table was the same notebook with Emily's sketch. I realized I couldn't back down. Not because of anger or revenge, but because she would not stop until someone put an end to it. I wrote to Night Owl Sleuth, "Let's do it. Let's publish everything." We collected evidence, screenshots of her account's IP matches, posts about her schemes in different cities. I wrote a post on behalf of ShadowTracer22 warning Dreamweaver94 is scamming people in our 4R. Here's the proof. I added everything we found, carefully hiding personal details about myself. The post gained thousands of votes in a few hours. Users shared their stories, some recognized her style, others remembered a similar girl in another city. Reddit exploded. Emily replied. Dreamweaver94 posted a retraction: "This is slander. Someone is trying to ruin my life." But the evidence was ironclad. Her account was blocked the same day. I was relieved, but it was mixed with anxiety. What if she found out it was me? What if she finds me? That night I received a message from an unknown number. "Did you think it was over?" I recognized her style even in those words. My pulse was racing. She knew, and she wasn't going to give up. The message, "Did you think this was the end?" was burning on the screen. I sat in the darkness of my apartment in Bellingham, listening to the rain on the windows. It was Emily. Her style, her way with words, I would recognize them anywhere. I wanted to delete the text message and block the number, but stopped myself. Fear or curiosity? She knew I was behind it. The question was, what would she do? I did not answer. I wrote to Night Owl Sleuth. She found me. She sent me a threatening text. What should I do? The answer came quickly: "She's bluffing. Check if she's posting anything new." I refreshed Reddit, but Dreamweaver94 was blocked. No new accounts were allowed. That should have been reassuring, but my anxiety was growing. Emily is not the type to disappear. At work, I tried to get back into a routine. My studio in Bellingham was friendly hipsters with tattoos and ideas that smelled like coffee. I was drawing a logo for a brewery, but my mind kept going back to texting. During lunch, I checked my phone, a new message from the same number. You're not as smart as you think you are. I dialed the number. Ring, silence. No one answered. Panic was building. Emily was playing with me just like in our correspondence, but the stakes were higher. I told her everything in the Operation Posh chat. Night Owl Sleuth said she wants to scare you. Let her think you back down. Codehound77 added check her old contacts off Reddit. I remembered Art by M94, her Instagram. The profile existed, but the posts were sparse pictures, quotes about new beginnings. One picture caught my eye, a sketch with the caption, Tacoma is my muse. The logo of the brew haven is in the background. It was a chance. I couldn't go there alone, she would recognize me. But I could warn others. I texted Trevor from Tacoma, she might be at the brew haven. Be careful. He replied, thanks. I've stopped talking to her, but I'll check it out. I hoped you wouldn't get involved. My days became gray. I painted and went to work, but every night I woke up thinking about Emily. Her laugh in the cafe with Ethan, her cold look in Allegro, it all came back. I realized that I hadn't let go of her. Not completely. My sketchbook was on the table, and I would sometimes flip through it looking at that drawing of a girl by the ocean under the stars. It was her, but at the same time not her. I hated myself for still feeling something for her. The call from Ethan took me by surprise. I hadn't answered him in weeks, but this time I pressed accept. Jake, we need to talk, he said without greeting. He sounded tired, not confident. About what? I asked coldly. About Emily. You were right. She's not who she says she is. I froze. Ethan told me that after the concert, Emily tried to contact him, making excuses, blaming me. But he had his doubts when he saw her post on Tacoma's Facebook group. She was looking for coffee friends, the same charm that had hooked me. I checked her old stuff. Found something he added and sent screenshots. A message between Emily and Kyle from a year earlier. She wrote about two brothers from Portland who she had on the hook. The pattern was the same: charm, manipulate, disappear. I thought she was just playing around, but this is more serious. She's dangerous, Ethan said. I didn't know whether to believe him. Ethan had betrayed me once, but he sounded sincere. Why are you telling me? I asked. He sighed, because I messed up everything between us. I want to fix it. I wasn't ready to forgive, but I listened. He offered I can go to a cafe in Tacoma. She won't be waiting for me. It was a risk, but I agreed. Ethan was to check out the brew haven without revealing me. I alerted Night Owl Sleuth in the group to watch for activity. If Emily was there, we'd have proof. If not, she would slip away again. I sat at home refreshing the chat, feeling my heart pounding. Ethan was my brother, but I didn't trust him completely. What if he played on her side again? My doubts grew every night. I thought back to our childhood, how we built pillow forts, how he protected me from bullies at school. But then Emily came along and he chose her. I hated him for it, but I also missed him. Maybe he really wanted to change? Maybe I was too focused on revenge? Ethan left for Tacoma on Saturday. I sat at home updating the Operation Posh chat. An hour later, he wrote, I'm at Brew Haven. She's here. My heart skipped a beat. What's she doing? I asked. She's sitting with a guy laughing, just like she did with you. I'll take a picture. Soon after, he snapped a picture Emily at a table across from a guy with a laptop. Her smile is the same as in the selfie from a year ago. I forwarded the photo to Night Owl Sleuth. They replied, that's her. The guy looks like Mike from Olympia. We had her. But what's next? Ethan wrote, I can go over there. Say I know everything. I hesitated. If he opened up, she would disappear. If not, it would continue. Wait. Watch, I replied. Night Owl Sleuth offered to send Mike a photo and a warning. I agreed. We used an anonymous account. Your friend from Brew Haven is Dreamweaver94. She's cheating. Here's the proof. We added photos and screenshots. 20 minutes later, Ethan wrote, he's gone. She's nervous. Emily left the cafe, got on a bus, and disappeared. Ethan followed from a distance, but lost her. I had mixed feelings. We had disrupted her game, but she had slipped away. Night Owl Sleuth wrote, not the end, but a victory. She'll know she's being watched. I went back to work, but the peace did not come. Every night, I waited for a new text message, a new post, a new hint that she was around. I started to see her in the crowd, a girl with brown hair in a coffee shop, a shadow in the park. It was paranoia, but I couldn't shake it. My new boss noticed that I was distracted, and one day he asked me, is Jake okay? I lied that he was, but I knew it was a lie. Silence for weeks. Emily did not appear on Reddit or social media. Art by M94 stopped updating. Mike wrote, thanks for the heads up. I could have gotten myself into trouble. Trevor too, she tried to come back, but I blocked her. I felt like I did something right. Ethan came to Bellingham a month later. We met at a pub, had a beer, and were silent for longer than we spoke. I was an idiot, he said. I'm sorry, Jake. I nodded, but I didn't forgive him. Maybe in time. I told him about Emily, about how she almost broke me. He listened without interrupting. I didn't know she was like that, he said. I believed him. Almost. I went back to painting. My sketchbook was filled with Bellingham landscapes, ocean, mountains, rain clouds. Reddit was a thing of the past, but Night Owl Sleuth wrote, all is calm. But if she comes back, we're ready. This gave security. The last text message came in the evening, you won. But don't celebrate too much. I didn't answer. I deleted it and turned off my phone. Emily thought it was a game, but for me it was more than that. I got my life back. But sometimes when the rain was pounding on the window, I remembered her smile. And I asked myself, what if she comes back? What if she is already here? My sketches became darker. I drew storms, broken ships, figures disappearing into the fog. It wasn't Emily, but her shadow lived in my head. I knew I had won, but the victory was not pure. It left a scar, an invisible wound that reminded me that trust is expensive. I continued to live, work, laugh with my colleagues, but somewhere deep down I was waiting. I was waiting for her next move. And I knew that this time I would be ready.